and whatever else comes after that, but God first. All right, and so when we love God, then all our other loves fall in place. We want to thank God for His love and mercy, and it's amazing. We want to talk about that this morning, by the way. It's an open line. We don't have any set topic. We don't have any guests. It's an open line, so you may want to continue discussions that we had last week when we had an open line, or what we had yesterday about cricket, or anything that we've discussed so far, or anything new. But we certainly thank God for life, health, strength, liberty, and sanity. We are in the midst, of course, as we know, of two important things. School reopens, and tomorrow we want to focus on education and the value of education, so that we don't just take schools and the education process for granted, and we don't just look at it superficially or artificially. We want to have an in-depth discussion tomorrow about education and its importance, why all governments around the world offer education free of cost to its citizens, and so on, to their citizens. Now, today, I want us to look, ladies and gentlemen, at cleanliness. I've been hearing a number of persons call in and talk about the state of affairs on our roads in particular, on our roads, beaches, and public spaces in general. Of course, because we don't have access to people's private property, we don't even know what state people's houses and yards are kept in. Of course, except for those with open yards, with yards without fence, or yards with chicken wire fence where you can see through. But for those with galvanized wood wall fences, where we cannot see on the inside, we have no idea what lurks behind there. But certainly in our public spaces, or streets, or parks, or on the beaches and so on, a lot of us seem not to be satisfied with the state of affairs. What are your views? Do you think this is generally a clean place? And if not, why not, and how can we correct it? Because we've been talking about this for a mighty long time. What are some of the reasons why we see garbage piled up here and there? Why is it that so many people, just drop things left, right, and center? I must admit I've seen it much worse, infinitely worse in other countries. But right now we're not concerned about that. We're concerned about our own country. And then we want to look at, during the course of today as well, the churches in our society. We have a lot of churches. We have perhaps more churches per capita than many other countries in the third world, in the Caribbean, perhaps in the world. Lots of churches of all shapes and form, of all doctrines and tenets, of all dogmas and creed. And the leaders of society be better off, or at least no worse, without them. Or are you one of those who believe that in this life we live, there is always a relationship between any two issues, no matter how diverse they may appear? We have our first caller. Hello.
Yes, a very pleasant good morning, Brother Blake.
Good morning, sir.
Lovely topic.
So
we start with cleanliness first.
Okay.
Brother Blake, even though your eyes shut and you're passing down on the waterfront by College Street, just under the bridge there,
right,
down by the market. Now, when the water comes down in College Street, the water, when it come off the concrete, it dig out a hole right there between the basin. And I've been telling them for years, the solution to that problem is fill up the hole with some boulders right up to the level of the drain, and then you cap it off with concrete. So you give it a couple feet out in the water there. And then you find no water would settle there that people could go and throw garbage in it.
Okay.
That's number one. And we have some people over the health center. I ain't gonna stop, They've been using politics in the job. Because in our days when we small, they had them men, them wharfing just go around in the place and they make sure that the workers them clean the place. You don't see that now. We had the local named Melody the Great and Johnny. them two men there. You used to see them with Mr. Fleming up Newton, my good friend. And Mr. Fleming would be there supervising them to make sure that they do their work properly and the place was clean.
Okay.
But now they got all kind of high name, big name, this book name, come back down to Wharfing Joe, and Wharfing Joe used to come when the village make sure we yard clean. When we look to see Wharfing Joe, we going to sweep up and tow you cheap quick. Otherwise, if they catch you off guard, your mother got to go pay 2 shillings. Go out load of good. No, that ain't happening, and they collecting pay every month. Too much nasty people in the place, and a lot of people are using the guts them as an extension of solid waste.
Yeah, but why are people doing that? Why are people doing that? Is
well,
it that?
Tell you one. They have no love for the country and no pride in themselves. Otherwise, who love themselves ain't gonna kill themselves because they love themselves. Well, if they love the country, they would not do that. And so, economically, some of them get paid to go through them way, and they keep the money, and that's where they go with them. And the people who pay them ain't pay them to carry them up the gut.
So when we see people sitting down or standing up with flags and saying hey, hey and so on at Independence time and other times waving flags, but in the next couple hours they're committing these same acts. They're hypocrites then. Yes,
anybody could open their mouth and say I'm a Christian, but show your works. You could have a banner over your head say we are Christian, but look at your actions and your work. The actions speak louder than words. Or you could say I'm a teacher, but ask me what class I teach in or what school I teaching in. I will call a name, but then you say, well, is there working? And I don't say you. So how you can say you're a teacher in the school?
But how do we stop it?
Yeah.
How do we stop it, or at least slow it down?
Well, wait, let me talk again. Let me hear you now.
How do we stop it, this littering, this nasty kind of behavior, or how do we at least slow it down?
I like your description of your objective. Brother Blake, you can stop it by policing it. All of us, not only police in uniform, supposed to be policing these things. When we see people doing wrong, we're supposed to pull them up and report it to the authorities. Let them enforce the law. There is a law, or there are laws on the books for people who desecrate the place. Cut them down in Mr. Limo house. Let them go in, they go pay for conscience. Okay. Let them down there in East Square Street. Penalize them. Don't come tell me about no $500 if you catch me throwing fridge and bed in the gut. What is $500? Eh? $40,000, $20,000 for that. And then other people gonna stop it. A lot of backseaters gather up down by the bridge there under by Social Security at night. Just drive down there slowly and look under there, you see what happens. Who put them there? People who don't have no pride. And you got people named police and all kind of people see them doing it and they ain't doing nothing. But the basic thing is those people over the health center near Wharfing ain't doing their work.
Okay.
And they getting paid. Thank you, Brother Blake.
Thank you very much. Come again later. Alright. Let's take another caller. Hello?
Yeah, morning, Mr. Blake.
Morning, ma'am.
I'm still over here in Dave waiting for those sanitary officers to come.
Yeah.
I want them to know if they don't have anybody working as sanitary officers throughout the island.
Yeah, I was told when I investigated that there are in fact officers assigned to that area and that they would be dispatched. In fact, that they need to be spoken to, that they are assigned to the entire island, that they are officers who cover every area of the island. Yeah, but just as this guy is complaining, a lot of them just do not do their work and there's no penalty.
But some of them, when they come out, they find some kind of cozy corner to go into. And when they go back in and don't do any work.
Right, well maybe you could get a name or two. I'm not even sure how effective that will be. But
point in time.
The point is, when I checked it out after you raised it a couple of days or weeks ago, I was advised that there are officers assigned to all 68 square miles, to put it that way, of St. Kitts. Alright, all of the villages, and we used to have about 40-something villages, now we have almost 100 because every now and again some new development comes up.
But they don't have the names of those that work in the district like in Diet.
Maybe they should start having them, like the police officers have to have numbers or tags with their names, like, you know, we see happening in other establishments, because I have heard culture complain for years about the fact that people who are assigned and paid to do this job, they're not doing it. And the question is,
getting out of hand.
How do we proceed?
Really getting out of hand.
I'm going to have a chat again with a different person this time, higher up on the ladder, and see what happens.
It's really need to look after, and look after quickly.
Yeah, this is it. It's urgent. Yeah. Thank you. Okay, hello. Alright. So, yes, why? I mean, it baffles us because we have seen it. I don't know who has not seen it, where people standing next to a garbage pan, a garbage bin, a dustbin, or 2, 5, 10 feet away, and they just drop their stuff on the ground. Like I said, I've seen it in other countries. Yes, I just came from Cuba, where that's the norm. But in St. Kitts, why are we doing that? Why would a man, why would a boy, why would a girl, why would a woman be eating, drinking, and then just drop the container wherever he or she is finished with it? Alright? And why would people be driving and just be tossing things through windows and so on? Because clearly, as we drive along, we see these things on the verges. We know that they didn't appear just like that, like manna from heaven. They were put there, they were thrown there, either by people walking, jogging, or on wheels. And the question is why? Now, I must admit that in Basti in particular, I sometimes have to hold something in my hand for quite a while, because there are very few garbage receptacles, very few. And even the newish ones that were planted a couple years ago, I suppose, they have been removed in some instances, like the one that was right outside Flo on on 4th and Central Street has gone. There were 1 or 2 in the square. All the numbers that were there have been reduced. We don't know why they have gone and why they have not been replaced. And I think that's something that should be addressed. I remember raising that matter with the great Alfonso Bridgewater when he was in charge of SWMC. Why don't we have more public receptacles around town? Right? Because I don't know if it's an excuse, but for people to walk around with something that is sticky or greasy in their hand for a while, looking for somewhere to deposit the stuff, and there's nothing, it really encourages them to throw it in some seemingly obscure area. But of course that doesn't work, because then it piles up and attracts rodents and flies and is unsightly and unhealthy. So maybe the authorities need to address that. Plant some public bins in conspicuous, but we look around, we walk around back there, and suddenly here, there, and everywhere, and we wonder why that is so, because we don't even believe that we should have sweepers in those areas. People should just avoid doing that. Let's take this caller. Hello.
Yes, Brother Break, I have to come back again. And I'm going to give the lady from Deer Bay all the percentage in the world, what she said, because it's over a month. I hear the lady calling and talk about the nastiness they got around she place. And she keeping she place clean, but them rats and all kind of thing around over in she yard. And she said she ain't seen no warfinger down there. Well, I could tell you something. Up here where I live now, I up here now 7 years. And it's about 6 years. I see a young lady come up here with a book. She says she is the new sanitary inspector. I say, yeah? You're the new sanitary inspector, and she come to see if I got any old pan and old toy in my yard. I say, hold on, pard now. Down the road, down there. Why you pass down there in the road? Why you pass there, so? You see that? Well, if I were doing all your work, that would not have been there. A pool of water to the side of the road with all kind of old paper and all kind of pan and thing in it. So I say, do that the first, and I see nobody else again come hear me area.
And where's that?
Me up on me landing every day, I do me work.
Remind the audience where that is.
Eh?
Where's your area?
Lodge.
Lodge.
That's
so
really right down in the bend.
We have Deep Bay, we have Lodge.
Right. I ain't see nothing name, sanitary inspector, the decent name, what do I confuse people with? Never mind walking, Joe. Then I come around and I'm calling, I'm talking to the authorities from head, find out from your permanent secretary what report you get from these people in Warping Joe. If the place is being kept clean. So I start with them there and it come down to the supervisors of the people who are doing the groundwork. But everybody does sit back and wait till month to collect money. And they're doing the work. And people like us who just call in, we ain't hush. We will not hush until they do the work. You're going to tell me down in the heart of town, somebody going to go down, they go throw down a mattress bed? To the side of the road, what I tell you? Where them people who on foot, who supposed to enforce the law, what them do sleep? But let me move somebody's come back to you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Now, we have another caller. Hello. Hello?
Greetings.
Greetings, my brother.
Mr. Blake?
That's me.
Okay, I'll catch you direct. All right. Give thanks to the topic, yeah?
You better
Give
believe it.
thanks to the reasoning concerning the nastiness. I just call it like it is, you know.
Serious thing.
You know...
I like the sign on your door, by the way, where you live. I like the big sign on your door, on your fence, your gate.
Repeat?
I like the big sign, the big notice that you have on your door or your gate at your residence.
Yeah, man, I live it.
Serious thing.
And start from home. Because my mother, you see, I run no food in the house. The yard shine. The only place I see a yard shine like my mother yard is when I went to Jamaica up in the Bubba Shanty camp. Because they make broom and them use them broom often. The yard shine. And you know, not too long they have the food come in the place. Look, you see this nastiness? It starts from the head, come right down. Government look at them nasty. If government is nasty, that means there's a conspiracy from the opposition to sabotage the government with nastiness. We serious about this, you know. Mr. Blake, if I use a sweetie, I put the paper in my pocket that means I'm in a garbage bin. If I use a Whistler, you know what they call Whistler? But we wrap ganja in sometime. Sometimes we tear a piece. We not too much of smoke, you know. We want it in the steam pipe. Me more drink and eat. But if me do smoke, and me tear a piece of the Whistler, piece of the little piece of flat paper, me put it in my pocket until I reach a garbage bin. The government don't have the willpower to implement and make whatever laws there is, make sure that they carry it out. People are fined. Here's what they fine to. Charge people are $5,000 per liter. And look, culture, you talk about food and me started piece of paper. Where people say, little church blind your eye. We are one to the thing. Look on the drain name. They're supposed to be water. We're not talking about the mass, you know. We're not talking about the garbage. We're not reached the mass yet. The mass minor to what go on in the drain them. You see the alley, the place stink. And then you watch government buildings here and there, government headquarters to the back right there, there. You see how, hey, me go on here, man. Blessed love.
Okay, well, he's getting a bit emotional there. Because we see it here and there, and I think that we need to, it has to be instilled in the individuals. It has to be a part of their normal, natural behavior. They have to have this internally driven discipline that tells them it is wrong, that tells us it is wrong, it is nasty, it is, apart from the fact that it's illegal, to litter, to throw things here, there, and everywhere. It has to be from within. It has to be bred from within. Just as we know that we cannot just stoop anywhere in town and start to defecate or even urinate. Even when we want to urinate as men, you know, those of us who do that, we find a hidden space where we don't expose our person, so to speak, because that certainly is an offense. And we don't ever find women doing that, of course. Well, just as we know, just as women know, women and we men, both of us, we know that we can't just do like dogs and you know, grab someone in the street and start to have coitus. Well, why can't we do the same thing when it comes to littering? Why can't it be embedded in us that it just doesn't happen? It just does not happen. We just don't do it. We teach it to our children. And it's the point I was making the other day. If we have good parents, if we teach parenting in school, all this will be part of the syllabus. All this will be part of what students learn about being a good parent. That you practice good hygiene, you practice proper methods of disposal, and you teach it to your children. So the children will grow up not littering, whether it be carnival time or vacation time or school time or on the beach. They will grow up not littering because it would have been instilled in them by their parents. Alright? Just as we know that we don't use curse words in public, lots of us, unfortunately many still do, But no matter how addicted these people think they are to curse words, they're going from the magistrate and they'll talk from now to tomorrow and not utter one curse word because they know where they are. So it can be controlled. I think it needs to be done from within. It needs to be taught. It needs to be internally planted so that it's not a difficulty. Let's take this caller. Hello.
Yes, Brother Blake. May I have to come back now? You hear the passion in a Brother Eli? A sweetie paper? But let me tell you something in St. Thomas. They have some sign on the roads. Everywhere you turn in St. Thomas, you see them and you can't miss them. $1,000 for littering. And at mornings there is a radio program named Unlucky 13 Radio, run by Adiat Lee. If me driving behind you and I see you throw out a cigarette butt, all I have to do, watch the number of your car, call Adiat Lee and tell him number 121. Just throw out a cigarette butt in the street and Adiat Lee on the radio and call you a little bug. Whosoever driving the car, the number is this and that, you are a little bug and nobody want the name on the ear. So what we are saying here is that you have to make example of couple of them. Well, stop talking about doing little. They got ear, you know, and they could hear, you know, because everywhere you turn in tongue, you could see hundreds of them with a cell phone by the ear. And listen, but why they can't listen to the advice that's coming from people like you and all who will give the advice? They're just worthless and nasty. And Eli said he never get to the drain, the mass in the drainage, you know. When you walk in the drain, a green you're seeing there and not in the food plant, nobody plant nothing in there. They just sweep off the water and then I clean the drain. So me no know what else to say. Me no know just what else to say. Me man look. See you later. I get vexed. Thank you.
Alright, let's take another caller. Hello.
Hello.
Yes,
morning.
welcome to Frank and Candid.
Yes, you see this little thing you get out of hand. When Mr. Simmons was in there, they started to charge for littering. Yeah, he was going good. Street used to be clean. Then when Mr. Douglas went in, he was keeping it up a little bit while. When you look, he dropped the ball. I saw people while he was in there. People go to them, people who drop things, a little water go to them, tell them, look, please take up this, take up that, and they do it because they can want to pay this $300. And afterwards, then people say, oh, man, you charge me for this, me charge you for that, and maybe as the election come and election go, they forget about it. It used to be there, and it was in order. Now, you put things all about they don't kill. And they drop them down and no money I pay for them, so that's why you know it gone out of hand. So me, you know, how we gonna get it back? And the people used to work at the health center, the elder people, they resign. They used to really come on and monitor, man. Even the yoga gang clean up the place, overlook it. Now nobody overlook nothing, everybody under the air conditioner here, so that's how we go. In the terminal to me like they were going to put like a bindi and so, but me saying it come yet, so I don't know if they still have it in mind to do. Okay.
Thank you. Okay, and speaking of in the terminal, I really think there should be garbage bins and a notice board. Good morning, caller.
Good morning, Mr. Blake. How are you today?
Hey, Leo. I'm fine, thanks. And you?
I am always so impressed in the fact that there are things that I would hear on the radio, of course. When speak and try to educate our society, we all know well and what our best practices are. Speaking about grooming and littering, the grooming part, you've seen it in schools, but the market piggy of those age I weren't a part of. Miss Simmons, Miss Teacher Carmen, Miss Smith, you know, all those teachers have done so much to us, and at least we have transcended that to our children. And what Vince just said this morning, it is so true. The drains are not being cleaned. They're not. And I am, with that will, hope that I can be someone that work with them just for a day or two to show them how these drains are supposed to be cleaned. Mr. Blake, I clean my drains in the neighborhood where I live. I'm not waiting for the government to do it. I want my environment and surrounding my neighborhood to look the way I walk the streets should I do. I want to keep it clean. The fact is, these are some good practices that I believe we all do know. Methodically, don't apply them. The truth is, I think they need to enforce these laws. I'm watching you, you're watching me, we're friends. I can't give you a ticket. These are the kind of things that we all have to deal with today. If I see my brother do something I have done before, I see people knock when people sign advertising their businesses, I call the police, and I live in the same neighborhood, I call the police. The friends are not what I expect to live a comfortable life that cannot direct my journey and derail my destination. What I looked at is nothing but pure principles. We all have these things. We need to apply them. They are good practices. Until we do that, we can talk all we can. Nothing can be done. Mr. Blake, you have a good day. The show is always good. I don't normally willing to call every day, but when I hear something that I need to at least echo my voice about and emphasize, I do, like I heard this morning earlier. You have a good day, Mr. Blake. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much. All right. Yes, I think it's important that definitely legislation be enacted, or if it is there already, which I am sure it is, it needs to be enforced, and that happens in so many areas. But definitely, I think more importantly, as I said earlier, we really need to have this ingrained in us so that it becomes a part of us not to litter. That's what we need. Hello, caller.
Good morning.
Hey, what's up?
The last caller, when he tried to nice it up, not that nobody waiting on the government to clean the drain. Somebody being paid to do it. It's so very nice. I agree, I support him by cleaning his surroundings. But it's not that anybody waiting on the government to do it. Somebody being paid to do it.
Imagine
People being paid to do it. I had to put in 40 hours a week to get a weekly salary. Some people only working 4 hours in that week and getting the same weekly salary.
Imagine that.
So what he's saying, it's not a matter of waiting on the government. They have a job, they have people to do it, that's getting paid. I just about to call the office. I tried already before I call you, but I can try till I get back here. I know who I'm calling for. Who I talk to over and over, let them know that nothing has been changed for weeks now. Anyway, thanks.
Yeah, thanks. You know what I'm happy about? That no one so far has said we need to keep the place clean because of tourists. I'm so glad I haven't heard that, because I used to hear that all the time. What the tourists going to think? What the tourists going to believe? Nah, nonsense. We're keeping our place clean because of us. We the people. Good morning, caller.
Nonsense. You see, the situation again too is not about cleaning. It's about keeping it clean. I want you to understand the point they make. Cleaning does go on, even though the cleaners them just fall short, and some of them just say they're not getting enough money and blah blah boom boom. The cleaning need to increase, yes, but is maintaining the cleanliness. Because the dirtying up is more than the cleaning. The nastiness is more than the cleaning. Are you with me?
I'm listening. I'm hearing you. Loud and clear.
Pardon?
I'm listening and hearing you loud and clear.
Yes, that is the situation we are having. Because it's a mental problem. Nastiness starting in the mind of nasty people. And they flex it out. So we have to deal with it by both the educational thing, like they say, but we have to put things in place to make people pocket feel it, send people out prison. And because if you get charged a couple times and we see say, well, you know, business, we just send you prison. And when you're there prison, you come out to clean. Whatever draconian people want to call it, we have to, watch out, we have to implement these things. If we're serious about keeping our environment clean, you see when we live here? When we just be here by the bus stop and you see the sign, it's war between me and the bus driver and the passengers them. I'm going to say war mean war. Never ask them if you think a lie. We not play with them. We not play with them. I'm not nasty. I'm not want nobody. Sure. So therefore, it have to be inside of we. And whatever means, make it go inside of we. Who can abide by it? Live a jail. And every time they come out to clean. Bring them out to clean until the mentality change. You with me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, be serious about it. Because the nasty people, them not be. You know what I see by that place there, going down to government headquarters. That why this is a bank thing from the left hand side. The left hand side going down to government headquarters, right there by the chain before you meet the vote place and the voting place, and Mr. Chin place. That place there where you step up and go in. What is a bank?
Yes, the development.
Financial
Development bank. Yes, the development bank.
Good. I saw a young man on his way going there, and he had some napkins in his hand. I said, boy, immaculate, you just, tie everything, and he had some napkins in his hand, and two of them drop out of his hands, and he looked at them, and they start to blow, and he just look at them blowing and go straight in the drain and decide by government headquarters. And I said to him, young man, you watch the people them going without trying to stop them from going into the drain. He said, what do you want me to do? And you know, that ain't the only part of it. A lady is sitting there, and no, but I don't know she name. She's sitting there, and the lady, and she said, nobody with you. What you want to pick up napkin for? This is experience I had just about a week or a little more ago. Right there in the heart of town above government headquarters with a young man. You see policeman all this watch the nastiness in them. Them don't see it important to be tidy, be clean. And them is the same people talk about God, That's why me have this issue and me keep talking about that, because when Miss Marla go to Sister Old Church, Sister Fraser and all of them, me hear about that my mother used to record that to me, cleanliness is next to godliness, son. Cleanliness is next to godliness, Eli. And these people talk about dear God, and the nasty from the home to the streets, nasty. Blessed love.
All right. Cleanliness next to godliness is not in the Bible, but it is an aphorism which is well meant, and we believe that it has a lot of validity. Hello, caller.
Hello?
Yes, sir.
Good day, sir. Just this morning I was lamenting the fact that a whole generation has passed, and despite the massive education drive by solid waste and others, we still seem to be having this garbage disposal problem. And the thing is, it's everywhere. It's not isolated to any one place. It's in the guts, on the beaches, it's in town, it's in the villages. And what I don't understand is how some folks can be passionate about something like a healthy lifestyle, and so they go exercising, they take their exercise, go walking and jogging regularly, but somehow they still feel comfortable just tossing their empty water bottles or energy drinks on the side of the road or the verges.
That should create some dissonance.
Contradictory.
Yeah, that should create some dissonance there, but that doesn't apply. So how do we correct that?
Well, that's the thing. We have to essentially go back to the drawing board, because it's not that we're not doing things about it, right? It's just that they're not working, right? And I can't imagine what can possess folks who are supposedly environmentally conscious to do such a thing. And this idea that the opposition might be sabotaging is rubbish in itself. And maybe it's a case of evil things.
That has no merit. I don't think we comment on that.
It's important to note, right, that in this particular case, it's a case of monkey see, monkey do. Because if we, generally speaking, if people met a spotless place, they would try to keep it that way. When we go overseas, we don't dare drop stuff on the road.
This is it,
right? And you see, actually, I was very impressed with what you said at the start, with the linkage that you made of two seemingly unrelated issues. Actually, is symptomatic of a larger national phenomenon or problem. Okay. They may seem unrelated, but it's actually a manifestation of something else that is wrong. And I think the problem is there's a lack of pride and patriotism, right? This is just too widespread to be considered an isolated problem. We are not proud enough of our country, right? If things are not done correctly elsewhere, if there's no accountability, if there are no consequences, then it will manifest itself in other areas. And one such area is how we keep our country. Okay? So what I'm saying is, I don't claim to know the answer, because like I've said, there are lots of people working on this problem, have been for ages, but we are not anywhere where we should be. Okay? Yes, we should continue doing what we're doing, but there has to be something else, deeper, right? That needs to be inculcated in everybody. I'm sure these things are taught in school as well. I'm pretty sure. But yet, you know, somehow the message, the lessons, the education is lost along the way. Okay? And so we definitely have to go back to the drawing board and start, well, not just at the bottom. It has to be at the top as well. Because like I said, monkey see, monkey do. Right? Everybody has to be set an example. Yeah. This is the least, you think that this is the least any citizen, every citizen should be doing for his country.
Correct.
Okay, then.
Thank you, man. Appreciate that. Let's take another caller before we have a station break. Yes, caller?
Yes, good morning, everyone. This is Osman calling from Atlanta. I do agree with many of these callers, citizens I think it's needed. I, too, I am a citizen, however, I'm abroad. In the 70s, when I was growing up on Carter Street, and later in the 80s when I grew up in Matt Knight on Science Avenue, everyone had a responsibility and everyone did that for the good of themselves and teaching the children. These are something that we see lacking today. Children, for the parents, do not have the respect of the elders. Now, back in the 70s when I was growing up, living down near Carter Street, in the corner of Kearn Street, every morning, late in the morning, you will hear people cleaning, especially Carter Street drain. You never see moss going that drain. It's always clean. Westbourne got was the same. You will never see down by the best one dirty because always clean. If it's not the jail people in the clean it will be the civil servants. Now, back then, people respect. Back in the days when the last man was going around, well, that was a myth really. Back in the days, back in the 70s, people go around and you see a policeman, you never dare say a curse word. Because you know he'll clear across the police station and the person has to come and pull you out.
Yeah, he'll book you.
And when they go home, he's going to get some licks across the behind. All these things will stop. Now, the cleanliness of the country, we didn't think about tourism. We think about the country first. Now, all that has gone. And honestly, all these points that these other citizens have been drawn is so valid, but has been looked over and not put into action. Now, we can't look at the government to do all these things. We have to look at ourselves. Have pride in ourselves, be dignified, and recall who just said about the gentleman who is dressed as spiffy, going to wherever he is and having some paper in his hand and drop it. He didn't just drop out his hand, he threw it out his hand onto the street and it walked away to the drain. The person who see that, who did not say anything, that person also is accountable for having that action done and allowing that man to continue doing that by letting him see, okay, this is acceptable. No, it is not acceptable. Things that we do unconsciously, many times it needs to be addressed, and I think Parliament needs to come back and say, hey, we need to start addressing this thing here.
Okay.
Monkey see, monkey do, but the thing is, on a whole, the authorities such as police, the sanitation and all this type of stuff, they need to come down more heavily, not just punishment, but to spread the news across. A clean place is a beautiful place. I love my country. I grew up and lived in Basque all my life until I adulted, and I'm still proud of St. Kitts. I wear my flag everywhere I go. But apparently the younger generation, it is not as our older generation was. They're not loving their place of their birth.
Okay.
But that needs to be corrected.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so very much.
Okay.
Thank you.
We have another caller?
Yeah.
Okay, hello.
Yeah, I'm right here. Yes. The saying is so, monkey see, monkey do. But no monkey see, nobody at the top of the country put any mattress in the square. So that come out for the person who put it their own worthlessness and lack of love for the country. Now, Mr. Blake, there is an individual criticizes everybody and everything in the world that they're doing it wrong because the Bible said do this and the Bible said that, so they're doing it wrong. Now, you have to let dance on your yard first before you go abroad, go dance. And Mr. Blake, it isn't right for nobody to have their yard look like a forest. Some time ago, a dog was running, chasing some goat, and through them same bushes there, and one the goat happened to run in the house where the individual live. Because the goat never know the difference between a open door and running through the grass. And it's when the goat put up on something in the house and he drop down, the individual wake up. So therefore, if the individual had the yard clean, the goat would not have run in the house.
That's a Nancy story or what?
No man, that happened through down in the west. Down in the west. And the individual is a self-righteous, godly person.
Okay.
Okay then, thank you.
Alright, let's take one more call and then we'll have a session break. This is our last caller for the time being. Hello.
Yes, good morning.
Good morning, sister.
Yeah, Mr. Blake, yes. Well, thank you for this discussion on environment, because I think we are going to have to be doing this all the time. It's because it's a dynamic. Sometimes you have it clean, sometimes you have it dirty. Now, I drive to the island from time to time to see what is going on. We have a lot of beautiful concrete sidewalks. I'm not sure why we're doing so many, but we have them. But in the drain section, you see grass growing.
Yes.
And I think more concern should be made also about cleaning up that grass. It's nice to have the sidewalk, but all this grass growing in what would be the drainage path. That's one. Two, I believe it, I subscribe to what is said that leadership comes from the top. We stay here in the St. Kitts, and we might criticize President Trump for not taking the lead in terms of the masks, no matter what is said to the ordinary person about the correctness of it. We want to see the leader. Now, in St. Kitts, there are two big sites that government should be dealing with. And I am shocked up to today after so many years. The old Bastia, you could say the former Bastia High School site, it's in a mess.
Absolutely.
Why can't the government get people to clean it? I don't know. And to me, that's something mental. If the people who are in charge are not taking control of getting that place cleaned up, day in, day out, weeks, months, years, what can you expect? The same thing, I'm glad to hear that the solid waste say at last they are trying to clean up the dump at Fort Thomas. But Fort Thomas is still a dump, if you see how it looks now. And this is all part of the island, so we have to look at more a holistic. I've heard the tourism minister speak about cleaning, getting the strip at Frigate Bay done up well, but clean up the place. They need to work together to clean up the whole island. St. Kitts and Nevis are two beautiful islands, but I find when I go to Nevis from time to time that I see a greater sense of pride in getting the whole place clean. St. Kitts needs to do the same thing. Thank you.
Hello.
Hello, yes.
Yeah, you spoke of two major sites. I think I heard you mention Bastia High School. Is Fort Thomas the other one?
Fort Thomas.
Oh, okay, I just wanted
to go to Fort Thomas, you will see it. I mean, they have cleaned up where people used to dump.
Yes.
But the place is a dump.
Yeah, I want to make that
it needs to be cleaned up.
You're referring to.
Right. Okay. It may not be the responsibility, that part of it may not be the responsibility of solid waste. It's more the industry or whoever, what have you. But we need to clean the whole place. Very and well. Keep it, as the person said before, somebody said before, keep it clean. Definitely. Thank you.
Thank you. I will take a session break and come right back.
It's Praise on the Post, Join me, your host Dawn, every Wednesday night, right here on the Pulse of the Eastern Caribbean, ZIZ, as we lift up the name of the Lord. You will get the best of praise and worship music with inspiration for the nation on Praise on the Pulse. Don't miss it. Tune in every Wednesday night to the family station, ZIZ at 8 p.m. for Praise on the Pulse.
Nagico Insurances reminds the community that the Atlantic hurricane season officially started on June 1st. As you live in the hurricane belt, we know you're familiar with the immense power of these storms and how to prepare for them. Don't wait until it's too late. Start now to ensure your safety and the safety of those around you. Properly insure your property and personal belongings. Contact Nagico today to discuss your needs. Nagico Insurances, fast, fair, and always there.
Poinciana Restaurant on the Frigate Bay Road opens daily at 11 a.m. to serve you lunch and dinner. Whether you desire to dine in or take out, Poinciana Restaurant offers both to serve you better. Call Poinciana Restaurant at 465-5216 for your lunch or dinner takeout and reservations.
Power Talk, Skellett's new electrifying 15-minute radio program, features on ZIZ every first Wednesday of each month. Tune in for the latest information on what's happening at Skellett. Learn more about doing business with us and the services we offer. Power Talk, powered by Skellett.
Every first and third Wednesday at 9:30 a.m.
And we have one or two callers on standby. We'll take the first one. Hello. Hello.
Caller? Yeah, hello?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm on, yes. Good afternoon.
Good morning.
I agree with the last caller in certain things that she said. But at the same time, remember the government cannot do everything. In my day, we used to have community groups and we used to go around different places cleaning. So maybe we need to organize that sort of thing again. We need to help the government. It's our country. Help the government would have a lot to do on the hands. We used to the community cleanups, and I think they need to bring that back in action. Okay? Thank you. Have a
Thank
nice
you.
day.
And I agree with you. I remember one time, Honorable Dwight Astafan, when he was the minister, he called on the community to come out in the numbers and help clean up the cemetery. And we did go out, and we cleaned the cemetery and had it looking good again. Right? Dwight did not have to deploy government resources as such. He called on the general public at large, and it wasn't for no labor people or just spam people. It was everybody and anybody, and we went out and cleaned up the cemetery. So this lady is correct. We need to perhaps have that kind of spirit revived. And sometimes it needs a leader to coordinate and organize, but it certainly can be done. But definitely I want to agree with the last caller but one, who spoke of the poor shape in which Bastille High School currently finds itself. I still refer to it as Bastille High School. That's my alma mater. I went to school there. I taught there. I was the education officer responsible for that school. I conducted my evening classes there. It means a hell of a lot to me. And I really think that it ought to be in much better shape. I believe that it can be kept in decent condition, even though it is not occupied at the moment. So I believe that I want to support the caller in that particular view, that the Bastille High School really needs some urgent attention. And again, we don't need the government per se to do it. We just need to maybe get their permission, and a group of us, we go in and we do what we got to do. In fact, I think I'm going to be looking at that in a very real way to see if I can get some people organized, and we go in and we claim the place. So I want to thank the caller for raising that issue, because that has now put in my mind the idea of getting some folks together, not necessarily those of us who are products of the school, but neighbors and all those who are minded to assist. I know Eli, for example, is going to be a part of it, and we go and we clean up Bastille High School, because it definitely needs some attention, and I'm going to work on that and see to what extent we can effect some improvement to its appearance. Right. So a number of things are outstanding. One, it is a fact that the state of affairs with respect to cleanliness is not where it ought to be. Two, that a number of workers who are employed to police the cleanliness of the of the country are not doing their jobs. And 3, it needs to be something that is intrinsic within us to keep the place clean. Let's see what this caller has to say. Hello.
Yes, Mr. Blake.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, there is a tractor with a grass cutter machine behind it. All the grammar school cricket field need is just that.
No, but we're not just talking about the cricket field. I don't want to be in there.
The partial there between the senior school, Basta Senior School at Park Range, and the grammar school building.
Yeah, but I'm saying we can't even see that from the road. So we don't know what kind of condition that is in. We just assume it's in bad shape. But if you look at it from the outside on Victoria Road or from Park Range,
yeah, but what I'm saying, the factory has a tractor, a machine, equipped specially for high grass and bush.
Right.
Yeah, so there is a blade cutter that comes out on the side of the tractor, and he cut down the tall trees them, and then when you reach down to a certain level now, then he lay down the cutter behind.
The blade, yes.
Right, and then he clean up everything.
Okay.
Well, a thing like that that there is that would be a nice community exercise.
Right, I'm going to try and spearhead that.
Yeah, because we have to do what we could do,
Definitely.
Because what we can do, we can do. And we got to start a yard before we go abroad. Don't sit back and wait till mama them come to put on pot. You home, put on water till they come.
Right.
If the water burn, well, you just take it out and throw more water in the pot.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Sure, man. And I'm sorry you yourself are not in a position to help us, because I'm sure you'll be one of the first to turn up and be swinging the match. Yeah.
All right, then.
Sure, man. Let's take another caller. Okay. Well, we're about to wind up in an event, and I want to make an appeal now then. Those of you who might be listening, I'm going to be calling on you. Those of you who've been calling in, including those of you who called in today. And I'm going to ask you if you're physically able to lend a hand in helping clean up Basta High School for starters. We will get the required permission and so on, and support from the authorities, since it's a government property. And we will inflict a cleaning on Basta High School such that it will not want to revert to its current state. Because, as I drive along Victoria Road, which I do regularly, and I look in, sometimes I actually stop to peep through the gate there, and it really is not nice. So, if you're asked, if you're approached to assist in this endeavor, please, I expect you to say yes, and to come by when we designate the date and time, and we will also have to approach SWMC and so on to get some bins. It's going to be it's going to be a large undertaking, but certainly it can be done. In fact, it has to be done, and therefore it will be done. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being a part of Frank and Candid today. We looked at the state of affairs in our country with respect to cleanliness, and all of us agree that we need to keep the place clean for our own health, for our own beauty, for our own sanity. We believe that cleanliness is in fact to a very large extent next to godliness, and we believe that a healthy environment conduces to better thinking, better living, cleaner thinking, cleaner living, not only for the aesthetics, but also for the hygiene, the hygienics if you want. And so we are appealing to persons to desist from dumping garbage here, there, and everywhere, to resist littering, and to insist on keeping St. Kitts clean. This is why I urge you at the end of each episode of Frank and Candid to do the right thing. And part of doing the right thing is keeping St. Kitts free of litter. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. We'll see you tomorrow. In the meantime, do the right thing. Blessings.
U.S.-based health agency lists St. Kitts and Nevis among countries with very low risk of contracted COVID-19. Jamaica's Prime Minister issues a strong warning to cabinet members, and UK-EU tensions mount ahead of fresh Brexit talks. Hello and welcome to the ZIZ Midday Newscast. Today is Tuesday, September 8, 2020. I am your presenter, Shaira Flanders. Nationally, the United States-based Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, CDC, has listed the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis among countries with a very low risk of contracting COVID-19 in its latest risk assessment level for COVID-19 that was updated on September 4th, 2020. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, or CDC, is America's leading public health agency. It uses travel health notices to advise travelers and other audiences about health threats around the world. St. Kitts and Nevis was listed among some 25 other countries on the CDC's No Travel Health Notice. COVID-19 risk is very low. The CDC bases its COVID-19 travel health notice risk levels on two sets of data: virus transmission rates at the destination, which is the primary criteria, and healthcare capacity and public health infrastructure at the destination. Prime Minister Dr. The Honorable Timothy Harris, while speaking on a recent edition of Leadership Matters, the virtual series, stated that the low-risk rating placed on St. Kitts and Nevis comes as a result of the country's management of the pandemic. The Prime Minister, however, continues to urge citizens and residents to comply with the non-pharmaceutical measures outlined by the World Health Organization, or WHO, and health professionals that have helped in containing the spread of the deadly virus. In all the news, for the first time in St. Kitts and Nevis, the Prime Minister's lecture series will be hosted virtually tomorrow, Wednesday. The lecture will be delivered virtually from the Royal St. Kitts Hotel this year in light of the social distancing protocols in place to protect from the spread of the novel coronavirus. Young mechanical engineer Mr. Mark Pennyfeather will be delivering the featured address at Wednesday's event. ZIZ will be providing live coverage of the lecture series on TV Channel 5 and all of ZIZ's social media platforms. It begins at 7 p.m. The theme for this year's 37th anniversary of independence is Resilience, Innovation and Security for Independence 2020. And as we wrap up local news, Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Education, William Hodge, has commended teachers for stepping up and improving themselves to adapt to the new requirements of teaching during the COVID-19 pandemic. Earlier this year, schools were closed as part of regulations to restrict the spread of the disease, and teaching was done remotely using the internet. During a ceremony on Monday to launch the academic year, Mr. Hodge singled out teacher J.C. Summersall for spearheading the training of teachers in the necessary technological tools. Mr. Hodge went on to commend other school champions who are teachers who have broadened their skill sets and gone on to teach other teachers to use technology to deliver lessons. Mr. Hodge said the champions will receive a tangible reward. On the regional scene, Jamaica's Prime Minister Andrew Holness yesterday laid down the ground rules for members of his cabinet, warning that ministers who run afoul of the law while executing their duties will find themselves in hot water. Holness, who himself was sworn in last evening following his party's historic win at the polls last Thursday, earning him a second consecutive term in office,